always right in that push.
Yep. Hit. Left side. Thoughts on the 995?
You know what? Good firing platform, I love it. A little bit heavy for a carbine weapon.
Agreed.
But good, stable.
Surprisingly good shooter, isn't
Very
it?
nice, very nice. I like
30-yard shot. August 2012, you are watching the Nutnfancy project. This is the High Point 995 TS. If you were watching TMP last year, especially the run and gun action with this carbine, then you know it's pretty much reviewed already. I did several in-field, as we shot it, reviews on the 995 TS, and you probably also know that I really like it. This review probably won't surprise you. I did promise a tabletop review to my friends, my subs around the world. Here it is, almost a year later. Better late than never. Let me start out by saying what the High Point 995 TS is not. Owners already know all this. If you're contemplating the gun, perhaps you don't. It is not the best looking gun out there. It's hideous. Yeah, its looks are pretty much repulsive to most eyes. We said that. It is not the most ergonomic 9mm PCC out there, or 40, 45, whatever caliber you choose. Others will beat that too. It's not the lightest. It's not the shortest overall length. It's not the highest quality. It's not the coolest. You're not going to buy this gun and impress your friends. Well, Nutnfancy, what is it? Well, it's a super high value PCC that just works. PCC is my acronym for Pistol Caliber Carbine. We'll make reference to that video as we move along here. If you're looking for a PCC that just works for an extremely low price, then you're in the right place. The High Point 995 TS is for you. If you're looking for thorough, detailed, honest, unbiased information after thousands of rounds of shooting on this gun, you're also in the right place. The Nutnfancy Tabletop Review. Here we go, kicking it. This is a TS model. It was introduced in 2009. It replaced the 995 Classic model, which I don't have trigger time on. Especially when we start looking at ergonomics, I think I would prefer the Classic model over the TS model. I would. The gun is also available in 40 cal. That is a High Point 4095 model. And then 45 cal, of course, 4595 model. By our friends at B. Miller, out there at Mansfield, Ohio. High Point, what's up? So, pick your poison. This is the 9mm. TMP acquired this one because it's going to be cheaper to shoot. And I can't even imagine what the ammo bill would have been if we'd been shooting 45 in this sucker. Philosophy of use. Told you I was going to mention that pistol caliber carbine. It's called Pistol Caliber Carbines Don't Suck After All. I love that title. It's annotated at the top there somewhere. Go click on it, and that's a detailed and I think pretty interesting discussion on where PCCs fit in to your systems, to your inventory, whether you're a civilian, maybe you're a law enforcement officer, maybe you're doing some WRL preparations, home defender, whatever. I talk at length about those philosophies of use with the PCC, and the 995 TS definitely fits in that category. There is a couple things I'm going to summarize here with philosophies of use. I'm not just going to leave it at that.
You ready?
Check out this philosophy of use. Burial rifle. What? Yeah, burial rifle. A gun that you don't mind burying up with some ammunition and magazines for a rainy day. No, I'm not kidding. Well, Nutnfancy, you think the day will come we'll have to bury our guns? Yeah, I do. There, I said it. Well, if you're burying it, you need to use it. Oh, let's not go into that discussion, please. Talk is cheap, bro. No, burial rifle. I mean, not just for WRL, but heck, anywhere that you might need to access a gun. No, I'm not kidding. I know it sounds crazy. But the sucker's only $200 to $225. What if you never see it again? Is it going to break your heart? No. How about an AR-15, when your prized AR-15s, your AKs? Yeah, it's a little bit different. There you go. Burial rifle. Of course, it's going to be an awesome recreational gun, a plinker. I've shown you guys at this point tons of video with me and the crew members shooting this exact gun. It is serial number Echo 92843. Thousands of rounds sent down range. We had a great time doing it. What a fun gun this is. I'm going to entitle this video, Ugly is as Ugly Does. In a nutshell, that's what this video is all about. If you guys remember Forrest Gump, you remember his mom says, well, stupid is as stupid does, something like that. In other words, if someone's not doing something that stupid, they're not stupid. Applying it to this gun, giving it a little twist. If the 995 TS works, and it works well in the important stuff, then is it really that ugly? Something to think about. We'll probably end the video with that as well. Training rifle has very low recoil. It's very unintimidating for new shooters to shoot the 995 TS, especially a 9mm. Home defender, talked about that, and PCCs don't suck. Defensive carbine, short range. I would say, I think like I said in that video, probably 75 yards in. I don't feel comfortable at all expecting a 9mm at least to be doing much for me at 100 yards. I don't. Not at all. 50 preferably. And then it's better than a pistol, just like I said in that philosophy video. Way better. It's a gun you can shoot better under stress. Any carbine or rifle pretty much is. A pistol is hard to shoot under stress. There you go. I'm kind of echoing that video. Go check it out. We go on to innovation design. I'm going to roll in materials and quality as I've been doing lately. This is an inexpensive gun put together inexpensively. I doubt very seriously you're going to get pride of ownership by owning it. There's no walnut here. There's no wood. There's no high-tech polymer. There is polymer there, but it's not, you know, of Glock quality. It is a price point gun. As such, there are some compromises that have and will have to be made in the construction of your 995 TS. Keep in mind, this sucker was birthed, that's kind of an interesting way to say it, during the, I think, the existence of the 1994 crime bill, the assault weapons ban, and that's why it's limited to 10 rounds, and it kind of dictated its design. And the reason I think they really have, I didn't call High Point up, they probably would have told me if I did it, but that they stuck with it and haven't done a larger capacity, or as I like to say, normal capacity, magazine version of a 995 is because this one is simple and it can get into more markets where there are magazine restrictions of, it has to be 10 rounds or less. That's my 2 cents. I think that's why it's here. There is a big downside to that, and as we go through this review, you're going to see this gun has a lot of quirks, a lot of weirdness to it that you just go, why? Why is it that way? They could have just tweaked it a little bit and just, you know, gotten rid of that. I know. I'm with you on that. So let's start. I guess I'm going to start back here at the stock. This is a TS stock, and it has a spring-loaded recoil pad. In the running and gunning here in the Nutnfancy project to include Trench Warfare with Crockett 20, my friend. That was posted, I don't know, November 2011. We talked about it. And then shortly around that time frame, the Sunflower Shoot, the 995 ran in that as well. And we did Eat Lead Drill. This went up against a Sub 2000 and AT94.
Nice.
And everyone pretty much liked the recoil pad. I didn't hear too many complaints about it. What I did hear is that the length of pull is somewhat long. Kind of rolling in some ergonomic discussion here because it makes sense to do so. I didn't find this to be obnoxious. I think it's kind of funny. It's on a 9mm carbine. If you watch me shooting it though, you will see this actuate. You will see it kind of compress and extend. This is an accessory. This is the dual magazine carrier. Highly recommended. Talk more about that. There's your rollover cheek piece. That's a comfortable place to put your fat cheek. I should say my fat cheek. This is a comfortable stock. It's skeletonized. Not bad. That brings us to the grip. Notice that this is all that polymer, right? Not super high quality polymer. No, we're not getting that. The pistol grip has good things about it and really bad things about it. First, the bad. One, that magazine is inset very deeply within the housing of that pistol grip. You better make sure you seat it all the way, and we had shooters multiple times not do this, and so they rack around, pull the trigger, and click, nothing. When you put that sucker in, you use a heel in your hand and you really smack it. And here, listen for that click. I showed this a lot on camera, talked to it back then. You'll see footage somewhere in this video of us doing that. If you have small hands, it might be a large circumference grip for you. You may not like it. Go to your gun store and handle it before you buy one. For me, I have large sized hands. It's actually quite comfortable. I actually like the pistol grip a lot. The location of the magazine release, excellent. That is excellent. The downside though, when we talk about the 995 TS, is the trigger. One of the downsides. The trigger is not awesome. The trigger guard for one is small. If you have winter gloves, good luck getting in there. Can't enlarge it. It's integral to the frame, right? It pulls so hard I couldn't even register it on my trigger pull scale. Not that I have a really great trigger pull scale. It sucks. Goes up to, I don't know, 9 or something. It's beyond that. Squishy. At least when you're on the table looking at it. And I need to interject this because what I'm rolling to the table right now is a lot of shooting experience on this. From a very fresh perspective, other than thinking it was ugly, I didn't really have any preconceived notions on the 995. But when I shot this thing, take this mag out so it's, I can do a dry fire on it, safety checked of course. You know, on the table you pull the trigger and you go, oh my gosh, that sucks. And you're right, it does. There is a mushiness to it. It's not crisp. But when you shoot it, you don't notice it that much. I didn't. It did not affect accuracy. Now, granted, I shoot a lot of different weapons. I shoot all the time. You may have a different experience, but you can live with the trigger. I'm not fond of the shortness of it. Again, the trigger, and then the blade is, it's like Munchkin, the Munchkin blade. That's some of the weirdness of the 995 you're just going to have to put up with. Another one is how it is mostly polymer, but then it's saddled with a stamped steel shell on the exterior. Again, we're not talking an aesthetically pleasing gun. It is not by most evaluations, but it is what it is. Overall, the gun is not super light. It's 6 pounds, 13 ounces. Again, like I said in the intro, you're not going to get the lightest gun here. You want a light gun, if weight is critical to you, go buy the 4-pound Hall of Famer here in the Nutnfancy project, PCC Kel-Tec Sub 2000. There you go. That is a great gun. The sub 2K.
Nice.
Overall length on this gun is 32.5 inches. That makes it substantial. The good on that is that it also makes it more comfortable to shoot for, I don't know, probably fellers above 5'10". I'm just kind of guessing on that because it's more relaxed. You're not squished up to the 995. You can kind of lay it out and have a normal way of shooting like you would an AR-15.
On those shots.
Look at this fat pistol, this fat forearm. This is why I think I would prefer the classic 995. It did not have this. It didn't have pick rails on it either. I think this is just too wide of a dimension. Did I notice it and just think while I was shooting, wow, this really sucks? No, I didn't. Nor did I run a VG right here, vertical grip. I just didn't. I just lived with it. Really no easy way to put a sling on this sucker. The way I ran it is I ran a loop through here, a 2-point sling, and then a loop through here, and then I cinched them. You'll see that in the Trench Warfare run video.
Always cleaning up after everybody.
Worked good. Is it ideal? No, because when I drop the gun, then the gun's laying kind of like that, instead of a nice, easy to grab presentation as we'd prefer 2-point slings to do for us. Quality, materials, how the sucker's put together. I love the sights on the 995 GS. I really do. They are a double aperture sight and they provide just outstanding precision. And it is very surprising because you pick this thing up in the gun store and you go, oh my gosh, this thing is so gaudy looking. The sights, they're so high above the bore axis, you just think there's no way. Well, shoulder it and look through the sights and then tell me what you think. The front and back peep sights match up almost perfectly and they're very fast to acquire. The front sight is very precise. I got my lighting in the way so I can't really give you a good shot of it. There you go. Affording great, that's right, I said great accuracy to the 50-yard mark for me. You might be different. All is not well, though, in high point land with the sights. There are some big downsides. One we mentioned already, they're high above the bore axis. That's made necessary because of where your fat cheek is resting, I think. The downside is that it's ballistically, you're going to have to figure out where you're going to zero this thing at. Since they're so high above the bore axis, it's going to change where your impact point is coming as you range out past that zero distance. We always like to keep our sights, our scopes, our optics very close to the bore. It just makes ballistic calculations, exterior ballistics, so much easier. Okay, before I get to the bad, the good side is they're fully adjustable. One at the rear, so I can adjust windage and elevation. They're clearly marked on the rear peep. You can see the spring loading right here. Didn't have a problem with that being consistent. In other words, that spring dying down and my point of impact is changing. No, that didn't happen. If you need to do some more elevation, I don't know if you're shooting at 200 yards or something, you can actually adjust the front sight here as well. We didn't do that at all. I didn't. Now for the bad. One is, and we got to talk about the Picatinny rail that is part of the TS package. It is a polymer rail and it pretty much sucks. That's right, I said it. It sucks. It's polymer and it's wiggly. For the accuracy testing, you're going to see that I slapped on a Weaver 3x9 high value scope. It works great. I did get some really good accuracy with it, but I did notice when we're on top of that rail with any kind of optic, and by the way, I had to fully remove this rear sight to do it, obviously, the rail is not stable. It wiggles all over the place. It's pretty much crap, that pick rail. It's not easy to take that front sight off either. The good side is that it is mounted on the underside with steel plates and it does lock into the top of the receiver quite well into that metal plate right there. So it's very stable. The rear side it's well protected. Looks like a bridge. Doesn't that look like a railroad bridge? Holy crap. Serious protection going on there. There's some of that weight, that heavy weight, 6 pounds, 13 ounces we're looking at. But it's difficult to remove. Well, Nutnfancy, why do you need to remove it? Well, one, when I started doing run and gun back in 11, I wanted to go with maybe a Vortex red dot up here and leave this on. But you don't have enough rail space right here. And this very high railroad bridge gets in the way. So I'm like, okay, I have to do a red dot, but I got to lose my irons to do it. So I pulled the whole iron off, took the 4 screws off. Pieces are coming apart. I got to keep track of them. It's a pain in the butt. It's not a great design. They should have allowed more pick rail up here so you could run a 0 eye relief optic up front. I'm not saying you couldn't find something small. I mean, the TRS 25, the Bushnell will fit here, or a little micro aim point will fit here on a riser mount. You might be able to co-witness with the irons. I just gave up. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to run the irons. So that's a bad part. When we get to accessories, I'm going to remind you, I'll do it here I guess, there is an aluminum rail that a dude makes for this, for the TS model. It's like $65. You'll pull all this off, you'll lose your rear sight, but you will have a very solid, from what I can gather, I haven't tested it, aluminum rail for your 995 TS, and it's going to lock on the top. Now you can run a scope. I would not run a scope on the TS. In fact, they sell models with a 4-power scope on it in 2012. I'm still shaking my head and I'm like, no. Because I was taking my scope and I was wiggling it back and forth. I was probably getting a shift of impact I would estimate to be 7 MOA just from the rail alone. What? That's right. I'm not kidding you. That's a takedown lever here. To the muzzle we go. It does have Picatinny rails if you want to throw on a light. There's a TLR4 by Streamlight integrated laser. I don't really run it, but you can throw it right there. Throw it on the side. Actually, no side, but on the bottom. I didn't do that. You could probably put it up front here if you wanted. There's your barrel. It's of medium width. It must be a good barrel because this thing shoots great. There's your front sight, downside on the front sight, and something you 995 TS owners are going to learn about if you shoot the amount of rounds we did. These will loosen on you. This thing is just slid on the barrel, micro dimples underneath. Take them out, degrease them. I just put blue Loctite on them in case I ever need to take it off. And then I would say firm them down. I wouldn't crank too hard because you don't want to create a dimple in the barrel on the inside. I'm not really sure what steel that's made out of. Innovation and design. It's a simple blowback operated 9mm. That kind of accounts for the weight because riding inside that receiver, as it has to be, is a very heavy bolt. Probably forgot some stuff. Oh yeah, like this. I gotta laugh. A left side charging handle. Lefties, awesome. Well, not so awesome because the safety is mounted on the left side too. Wouldn't you want the safety on that side for you guys? So no, it's different, it's weird.
Excellent.
And you'll see in our running guns, it's just different than anything you'll run. Well, not everything, but some guns. So you'll have to come up with a technique. You'll see my technique, which pretty much is no technique with a 995 TS, but it worked. And I got used to it rather quickly. And speaking of the safety, it is actually mounted pretty well when we talk about ergonomics. It's a simple slide up and down. I have it fully cocked right now. There you go, slides up and down. It has, by the way, this is an improvement introduced in 09 with the TS model, last shot hold open, and that is a plus over the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. It doesn't have that. Good job, High Point, for putting that in. Excellent job. And if you have a magazine out of the gun, for whatever reason, maybe you're cleaning from the muzzle in, which I recommend you do on this gun, it has a hold open device there with just a little slot cut out in the side of the steel shell on the TS. Excellent. The way they can sell this gun for $225 is, like you can see, the materials are cheap. They're cheap, they're easy to do. But I think a lot of the important stuff on the 995 TS, they absolutely got right. I'm going to go on to firepower right now. I'm going to start off with bad. Here comes the bad. And I talked about this in Sunflower Shoot. I showed you guys a lot of my shooting results of what was going on. These magazines by ProMag, no, they're not High Point, they're by ProMag. They pretty much suck. Yeah. TMP got like 4 of these for running and gunning and really testing them. I really had high hopes. And I actually went to the time and effort of taking all of the magazines apart, carefully sanding the followers with 400 grit paper, making sure the followers were absolutely free-flowing within the body of the magazine. I put some Remington dry lube in them. That's about all I'm willing to do. You might have some apologists show up for the Pro Mag saying, well, if you do this, if you do that, they'll work. If you run this type of ammunition, if you watch this overall length in your cartridges, they'll work. I say steer clear of the Pro Mag 15 rounders for the High Point 995. I'm dead serious. And because if you use them and you're in a life and death situation, you may just be plain dead. They suck, both with aluminum and brass cased ammunition. All varieties. We ran Cellar and Bellet, Winchester, White Box. I ran some hollow points out. They didn't like those. Lots of Blazer aluminum. Didn't like that. Stay away from them. Well, don't load them all the way to 15 rounds. Well, if you watch the Sunflower shoot, that's exactly what I was doing. I wasn't loading them all the way. Yes, I had improved performance. My memory serves right. They were better running at 10 rounds, but what have I gained if I'm loading even to 12? What am I gaining, 2 extra rounds over factory? Why even bother? This is a big downside to the 995 TS. It really is. It was born under the assault weapons ban. It is stuck to 10 rounds, and you don't have a reliable aftermarket magazine that I'm aware of right now, snapshot in time. Very disappointed in Pro Mag. I would never trust my life to it, ever. I spent probably 500 rounds working with those mags. Yeah, that's plenty of money trying to give it a good shot, and it just did not work. Now, these do work. The factory 10s. You have a steel follower. The angle of presentation is correct. And by the way, when I was loading those Pro Mags, I'm looking. I'm like, make sure the angle's right. You know, we're popping them down as we load. Yeah, they look right. We start running them. Jam. Plastic floor plates. Just get a lot of these. These magazines, my understanding is, will run in the High Point C9, which I also reviewed. That's a great high-value pistol. Ugly as hell, but man, is it a good pistol. These will run in it, but you can't put a C9 magazine in this. I think you have more interchangeability with the 40 mags. So if you have a 40 caliber high point pistol, it'll go into the carbine and vice versa, I think. You're going to be reloading a lot with your High Point 995. That's just a fact of life, dude. I cannot get past it. And yes, it is obnoxious. When we talk about the recreational philosophy of use, it's funner if we load less. I've always said that. It was a big selling point to the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. I was like, dude, forget defensive, you know, don't forget it, but for recreational, putting a 33 round magazine in a Kel-Tec Sub 2000, that is just aces, man. It's fun. Can't do it with a 995. So sad. Good. Reliability and durability. Ugly is as ugly does, and this thing does. Man, does it does. I'm talking aluminum case, brass case, hollow point. At least the ones I tried, the High Point 995 TS, had stellar reliability, as long as I'm using the factory magazines. Wow, just shucking it. I mean, the aluminum Blazer doesn't run in the Kel-Tec Sub 2K, dudes, right? Doesn't, hates it. Not so with this. So that, I really like that because it's part of the economy equation that the 995 TS brings to you. That it's not a finicky rifle. It will feed that. You might, if you're going to put it in a serious defensive role, you need to test it with your hollow point ammunition. I will not give you a carte blanche. Oh yeah, good to go, any hollow point ammo. Try it. You'll probably be pleasantly surprised. This has a very bizarre design to it, but it is reliable. And it is extremely durable from what I can gather. Thousands of rounds. I'm not manufacturing that, by the way. Seriously, we put a lot of rounds through this gun. And I can't even tell it's had any wear on it. Serial number E92843. Sounds like a droid. I think it's just going to have phenomenal reliability. It is a beater gun. You can just beat on your 995 day in, day out. You go weekends, you throw it in the truck, you throw it in your boat, you beat on it, you just go on and on. Now, I'm not going to say that you won't have things break, because remember what I said, it's not the highest quality.
Nice.
You know, components, you might have a screw pop out. This may come off, maybe you'll bend this. The good news is, especially when we talk about track record, is that High Point has just amazing service. Amazing. You call them up and say, hey dude, I'm a 995 owner. I don't know, I just dented my railroad bridge of a rear sight protector. They'll probably send you one out free. They don't care if you're the original owner of the gun or not. Factor that into your value equation while you're at it. Some gun companies could learn a few things from High Point with that. That creates huge loyalty amongst High Point users. And by the way, at this point, I'm one of them. And brand loyalty and fans of the type. So, bang it around in your John boat as you go gator hunting, whatever. I think it'll work. There's not much that can rust out here. You got this barrel. It seems to be kind of painted to me, by the way. It's not a bluing job. Not parkerized. This is aluminum, pot metal. This is steel. This is steel. You might get some rust issues on that, so you'd have to watch it. Duracoated if you're worried about it. Cerakote it. The rest is plastic. I'm going to give it like a 10 out of 10 for reliability with the factory magazines. Pretty much put it through a Fallujah test. Remember when I said that in the sub 2K video? Fallujah test. Yeah. I mean, you're throwing this thing around. Fallujah, I mean, house-to-house fighting in Fallujah, Iraq. You're banging the gun in. You're going in and out of armored vehicles. Now, I didn't have armored vehicles, but I threw this thing in the dirt several times. I didn't clean it once during the review. Not once. Great reliability. That'll take us to accuracy. I thought I had some iron sight targets around here. I honestly got sick of looking for them. If you guys saw my stack of targets for guns awaiting review, you'd just laugh. I do have these for you, and this is going to prove the point. I only shot at 50 yards because it's a 50-yard gun. USA, shooting about like that. Now remember, that's with the 3x9 scope, so I could have been experiencing a little bit of polymer shift. Actually, not could have. I can pretty much guarantee you I was. If I would have shot irons, I bet you all of them would have been right here in the orange. Kind of like that. Seller and Bellet, USA. Great groups. I can't remember if I shot those irons or not. I bet you I did. And then that's with a scope, USA, Blazer. This is what the accuracy is on the gun, honestly. That's 3 rounds of Starfire ammunition. That's a great ammo. Kind of has a very small opening on it. Blazer brass, not aluminum. FMJ, 100% reliable. Very accurate. USA did not like that much, apparently. There's more Blazer brass. Great group. S&B, 115 grain. More Starfire. Man, that Starfire, 124 grain load. Very accurate. Accuracy, I will say, is excellent on the 995. And this is a good time to say practical accuracy on the gun is truly impressive. And I'm talking about in run and gun, slightly stressed shooting drills you see here in the Nutnfancy project. The gun just excelled.
There you go.
Those peep sights were amazing. I mean, we're playing jingle balls off that IPSC plate from Action Target. I mean, Crockett 20s, binging them, so am I. I mean, guys were just hitting with this thing. It's not hard to do. Those sights are excellent. Accuracy is excellent. What is not, however, is the field strip process of the 995 TS. It blows. There's some of that weirdness I was talking about, and I'll roll in some pictures, I don't know, somewhere in the video, maybe at the very end, because I don't want to bore you guys, but this is a weird gun to field strip. It just is. The good news is on the TS model, they came with some spring-loaded takedown screws, receiver pins, I guess. They're not screws, and they're spring-loaded, and you'll just throw these latches off, like so. You'll throw that takedown lever off. You'll take off that retaining plate on the bottom of the receiver. And then once you do that, you'll be able, oh, you got to take the bolt out. Forgot to tell you that. Yeah, you got to unscrew the bolt, take it off. And then somewhere along the process, you'll be able to slide this front section of polymer free. I found you do not have to take off the front sight unless you really want to take the bolt all the way off the barrel. If you do want to slide the bolt, which telescopes over the barrel, you'll have to take the front sight off. I probably would try not to do that, and I don't think it's necessary for cleaning and lubrication, which incidentally, High Point says is not necessary until 15 to 2,000 rounds, 1,500 to 2,000. I found that to be the case because after I cracked into it, I know we shot over 2,000 rounds. A lot of it, I mean, honestly, I have so much camera time, I just quit filming. I was like, oh, I've got enough. I don't know how I'm going to use what I have. But I got inside the gun. I really didn't see any. I was surprised at how clean it was. It's a blowback gun, so it will discharge, you know, some powder back into the bolt face, but I didn't see anything alarming there. Just cleaned it out. Then once you get inside, you pull this top portion off. There's going to be a little pin and a plate inside the receiver. You'll slide that rearward, and it will allow the bolt to slide forward and come off of the receiver. And that's as far as I'd recommend you'd field strip your 995 TS. And then you can get in with your toothbrush, your solvent, clean the breech face, clean everywhere that needs to be cleaned. Look at the shiny spots, because that's where you should put your Slip 2000. I think I was putting Militech on it when I did it. And then reassemble it. It is a pain in the butt. It's not super quick. I will say this, if you do it fairly often, you're going to get good at it, and it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. They're not really a problem, but the thing is it's not something you're going to do that often, getting back to that reliability. It's just a gun you don't have to crack into very often. In fact, it's not even recommended, again, by the manufacturer. Accessories. This is a fun review, by the way. Well, first you get this stupid thing. Well, nothing fancy. I run that on my 995. I love it. Okay, it's 3 ounces though. And what does it do for you? Looks. Okay, for second, kind of cool. I just like it. I like the Flash Gordon Planet of the Apes appearance, Nutnfancy. Okay, cool. Go with that. I'm down if you throw a second, kind of cool. And actually maybe intimidation factor. So someone who doesn't know guns and they see this pointed at them with that big old thing on. Yeah, I can see that. I'm not kidding around. Could see it. But it's 3 ounces. You're putting it on the worst possible point of your gun. Possibly changing barrel harmonics and your swing weight, maybe slightly. I would probably not run it, just run it like that. All the accessories that High Point makes for this gun are actually pretty inexpensive. You can buy them directly from them. That's what I did. I just went to their website, click, add to cart, shipped it. This is a total must. This is a dual magazine holder. Since you're going to be reloading so much on your 995, you totally want that. You'll get good at loading, maybe. I don't know if I ever got really good at loading the 995. But again, I mean, super fast loading. Don't be fooled. It's not ever going to do much for you unless you're in a very closely spaced competition where the guys are separated, points I'm talking, are separated by microseconds. And then, yes, loading can make or break your score. But in real world, it won't. That's my opinion. They also make, let's see, a folding vertical grip on it. That's what I'm trying to say. They're all affordable once again. I didn't run that again. There is an aluminum trigger out there for the 995. I didn't test it, and nor would I. Again, the trigger on tabletop seems like it sucks royally. When you shoot it, maybe not so much. You kind of forget about it. That tells me that it's really to the point you can live with it. I'm not going to say it's awesome because it is not awesome, but you can live with it, and you might want to think about not spending the money unless you jack up your value equation. And I really want to hammer this home, because if you go out and spend, let's say you do get that aluminum rail, $65, get an aluminum trigger, I don't even know what that is. What is it? $30. All these things start adding up. I would look very seriously at just going and getting a Kel-Tec Sub 2000 if you could find one. Yes, I like the Kel-Tec Sub 2000 more than I do the 995 in a lot of respects. Sights, nope. Like these sights much better. But as an overall compact, fast shooting, high firepower PCC, yes. Sub 2K. Which will ticket, again, if you can find it, to 300, 325. So it's not a heck of a lot more than this gun. It also is a very high value PCC. Watch the value equation though. They have aftermarket charging handles. They have a barrel shroud. They have all kinds of things you can trick out and dress your 995. If they don't directly contribute to the warfighting capability of your rifle, I am not interested. They make it heavier, goofier. I don't run it on my gun. You see that with my ARs. They do include a cool adjustment tool with a 995. I don't have it on the table. It's around. It'll help you field strip onto value. I told you the price already, right? Yeah, around $225. Other options exist. I already talked about the sub 2K. That is one of my all-time fave PCCs. No surprise, especially with a quad rail on it. Locked down quad rail. No, it won't fold in half anymore, but it's still much lighter than this one. It's 5 pounds 13 ounces, a full pound lighter than this one. That's the sub 2K with a quad rail on, and it's a very trim quad rail that you can put whatever you want on there. VGs, lights. Again, I run it trim. Another option, not in the same ballpark, but it is a PCC, is a Beretta CX Storm, 5.7 pounds. That sucker's $800, and it has a stupid thumbhole stock on it. I know, I don't like the thumbhole stocks. I told you that before. Marlin Camp Rifle, rest its soul, it's gone. You might find a used one, but they're going to be pricey, around $900. How about that 1894 by MKE? It's gone. If you find one of those, that's basically a semi-auto MP5. I reviewed that, ran it a lot. Cool gun, not for me. Cool gun though, that's running around $1,100, maybe more now that it's been discontinued. They have that Just Right carbine. I think new it's around $600. Very lightweight. Takes Glock magazines. That's a cool thing. Maybe something to keep your eye on. Lone Wolf is making a Glock AR-15 lower. Yeah, but they're all going to be much more expensive. Not the Kel-Tec, but the others are going to be much more expensive than this. Ugly is as ugly does. And when you talk about the track record of the 995 TS, it is pretty much stellar. You know, go look at my past videos of running guns of guys who own the 995, what they're saying about it. Long-time owners, T and Peters that have it, the comments that you'll see post to this video, you will see pretty much all of them echoing the same thing. You might have a problem here and there, but the dots will connect to, it's not ugly because it works. And it cost me $200. And there's nothing else in the market that even comes close to that value equation of the 995. Burial gun? Maybe. Don't forget where you put it. You'll probably seriously lose it. Where did I bury that thing again? Heck, I don't know. I only paid $200 for it. This is a Nutnfancy review, man. It is a funky looking creature. The High Point 995 TS, but I'll tell you what, this sucker works, it's accurate, it's reliable, and I love it. Thanks for watching. See ya.
All right. Safety on.